The 43rd verse of the Tao Te Ching. The softest of all things overrides the hardest of all things. That without substance enters where there is no space. Hence I know the value of non-action. Teaching without words, performing without actions, few in the world can grasp it. That is the Master's way. Rare indeed are those who obtain the bounty of this world. Unquote. Living softly. The Tao Te Ching is full of parallels to nature, and in fact the pure essence of the teaching seems to be to help us to become Tao-inspired sages through oneness with the environment. The opening lines of this 43rd verse remind me of the way of water, of its softness and ability to enter everywhere, even when there's seemingly no space for it to do so. Water is used symbolically in many references to Taoism, such as the title of the outstanding contemporary work by Alan Watts, Tao, the Watercourse Way. To live softly is to live the watercourse way. In this verse, Lao Tzu invites you to change the way you view hardness. To you, the concept is probably equated with strength. You may work out because the firmer your muscles, the tougher you think you are. Do you consider diamonds more valuable than a soft mineral like volcanic ash, which crumbles in your hand? Perhaps you subscribe to the idea that doing a difficult task makes you a better person. Now imagine emulating water, this basic element that is the embodiment of nature. After all, it does comprise 75% of both the world's surface and our physical makeup as well. Think about the way water courses, flowing to the lowest place, and how in order to experience it, you can't just grab a handful, you must instead relax, lightly placing your fingers inside of it. Reflect upon how the gentle water compares to the solid stone and marble it's capable of carving through. The soft water overrides hardness. Deep valleys surrounded by mountains of granite have been carved away over the centuries by the patient, quiet, moving liquid called water. Imagine being able to enter where no space appears to be available, and to move slowly, speaking seldom, and allowing yourself to be harmoniously intact as you seek a lower, less noisy and noticeable place. A place where all others desire to come to you. This is the watercourse way. There's value in the non-action of being able to flow like water naturally and effortlessly. I can't help but think of this when I enter the ocean to swim for an hour or so. I want to go with the current rather than swimming against it, so my first choice involves seeing which way the water is coursing. As I move through the sea, emulating its naturalness, I trust my instinct and swim without trying to direct my arms and legs in their strokes. I think of it as doing, but not interfering. That is, I'm allowing my body to propel itself through the water without my mind telling it how to move. As I've changed my thoughts about hard and soft, I don't have to do anything but be in the water. I've chosen to make my daily swim a soft, silent experience that requires very little action on my part. And my swimming world has changed. It's become easier, more joyful, almost effortless. I've learned the value of non-action, as Lao Tzu expresses it in this verse. It's performing without action. Apply this way of seeing everything in your world. Tasks will be simplified, your performance level will increase, and the pressure to be better than others by using superior hardened strength will cease to be a factor. You'll naturally incorporate the wisdom of peaceful harmony that's found in the martial arts by letting the efforts of others become a source of your own power. Your softness will override the hardness of others. This principle is clearly seen when you look at great champions as they perform their chosen activities. The greatest golfers are effortless in their swing. The most successful ball players run, jump, throw, catch, and shoot with a softness that seems to stupefy most observers. They don't use force, nor can they find words to describe how they do it. The most talented artists dance softly, without effort, or paint quietly without force, and write easily without struggling, by allowing the words to come to them. As Lao Tzu reminds you, these are rare beings who live the Master's way. These sages obtain the bounty of this world, which is available to you too. As I contemplate Lao Tzu's counsel, he urges me to offer you encouragement to apply the spirit of the watercourse way that's found in this 43rd verse of the Tao Te Ching. First, introduce a soft, non-action style to your life. Practice the way of non-action or performing without effort. By letting go of your inner drive to push ahead, you'll see that you ironically do better than when you tried so hard. In your work, become more tolerant in your drive to achieve by softening your attitude and your behavior. You'll see that customers and large opportunities are attracted to you. Why is this true? because you're allowing the perfect flow of the Tao, like the great gray heron lets the tide recede in order to reveal the nourishment he needs to live. Notice how your life changes as you change the way you look at it. Practice performing without effort in other areas of your life too. For example, some marathon runners say that they've learned to relax and stop pushing, letting their legs, their arms, and their torso simply be as their bodies begin experiencing extreme exhaustion with only a few miles to go. They report that when they shut down the mental interference and instructions, they magically cross that finish line. Soft always has its place, for it is the watercourse way, the way of the Tao. And secondly, encourage desires to freely flow in your imagination. Consider what you've wanted to have in this life as if it's behind a locked door. Examine what you've been telling yourself about the prosperity, the superb health, the good luck, the business success, or wonderful relationships you've craved, that no matter how hard you've tried, it's all come to naught. Then imagine yourself flowing like water through the barrier of that locked room. Do it softly, gently, and silently in your mind. In other words, just spend some time getting used to practicing the watercourse way of the Tao. As you allow softness to be part of the picture of your life, the hard way will soften. Begin to exercise this kind of effortlessness in all areas of your desires. According to Ralph Waldo Emerson, quote, "It is the condition of inspiration. Marry nature, don't use her for pleasure," unquote. I urge you to consider this kind of a marriage. Do the Tao now. Have a day of silence. Don't speak aloud to anyone. Instead, just observe and see if you can be in a state of softness without telling yourself or anyone else what to do. Gently consider the powerful words of Herman Melville, who once said that God's one and only voice is silence.